Hello viola players, we will be continuing our work on Minuet 3 in your Suzuki book. This video starts at measure 17. If you haven't already worked on the video that goes through measures 1 through 16, please do that one first because there are some similarities and techniques that repeat in this section. So it starts right off the bat. I actually think this line of 17 is one of the harder ones in the piece because we have a fourth finger on our A string, makes the pitch E, and goes to a low 2, a second finger C natural. So let's practice going back and forth between that. Two more. And then it combines that tricky stretch with that same bowing pattern we have before. Do, slur, separate. And just like in the beginning, you should get to the tip on your first note of every measure where you have that rhythm pattern. So that'll actually be measure 17, 18, and 19. But let's just get our notes in tune in measure 17 first. If you need to take out the slurs, that's fine. I'll keep them in for now. Here's measure 17. Ready and go. And make sure that C natural is just as low as when you hit it the first time. Let's do that again. Ready, go. Okay, I'm going to do that measure and keep going till the end of the line, and there is a surprise at the end of the line. Ready and go. To the tip. Again. Surprise, it's an F sharp. So you have an F sharp marked in at the end of that line. Just make sure you do it. That's called an accidental. When a note's not normally in your key signature, and then it shows up somewhere in the middle of your piece. So that F sharp is an accidental, and it'll stay through the next line as well. You notice it pops up again there. So I'm going to play through that line starting with 17, and I'm going to go on to the following line. And for the rest of the piece, the majority of the challenges I see have to do with rhythm. So as long as you are using the correct amount of bow for each rhythm you see, right? Smaller bows for your eighth notes and longer bows for your quarter notes, then you should be okay. So remember to count, to feel that pulse, but also to use the right amount of bow. All right, so I'm going to play from measure 17, and I'm actually going to do the following line as well. So I will be ending at measure 24. Do, do-day, do-day. Be a bow lift at the end of that line after measure 24. So I'm going to start that second line again, the one that starts with measure 21. It's got a scale. That scale has an F sharp in it. And really, I do see a fair amount of rhythm problems on that line, so just watch how much bow I'm using and try to copy that. Ready and go. Full bow. The last two measures of that line, and remember that hook bow, even though our notes change, it's still 1, 2, 3, a nice steady beat. So it's the same rhythm as the measure before, it just has a different bowing. So here's the last two measures of that line. 1, 2, 3. And a bow lift. Mark that if your music doesn't have it. All right, I'm going on, starting at measure 25. And again, These challenges are mostly rhythm. Just make sure, for my viola playing friends, which is all of you, that you're swinging around enough to hit the G string notes, because sometimes those come a little bit low. And then when you're on your G string, make sure that your second and third fingers are touching. So I'm going to continue from measure 25. There's a tricky slur at the end of this line, but if you're thinking your rhythms, you should be okay. So I'm going to start from measure 25. Ready and go. Last two measures again, because we do have, again, a hooked bow that changes notes, but you're too smart to let that fool you. All three notes are going to be the same speed. And then we have a tricky little slur in that last measure. Slur, separate, D. Let's do that measure together, that last measure of that line. Starts on a D and it slurs. So the D, the first slur is an open string, and then you'll end on a fourth finger. So do, day, do, day, do. One more time. Do, day, do, day, do. Okay, I'm going to add the measure before it with the hooked bow. Hooked, bow, then slur, separate, D, like this. 1, 2, 3. All right, I'm going to back it up again to measure 25 and play till the end. Ready and go. Almost forgot those last two measures there. But you notice that that last line is similar to what you had in the second line that we started working on, the line of 21. It's just a string down. First two measures are exactly the same as that, actually. And then a slight variation. Not going to let that hook bow change your rhythm either. So here's this last line one more time. Ready and go. All right, I'm going to end with a complete playthrough of that section starting from measure 17 just so you can hear all the transitions. You can check your rhythm against mine. 1, 2, 3. And if you're repeating, make sure you do a bow lift. If not, congratulations, you have finished Minuet 3.